come on in the
Kundalini of love.
get some
Of this love.
Watch the way I navigate. Hard such, you got such a concourse at Gore Prasad. Hard such, you got such a concourse at Gore Prasad. Under shaking walls, but love no fall. Firm foundation, baby, stand through it all. We walk through the fire process, every pain. You're smiling on my mind, keep calling me name. Two hearts intertwined, no matter the weather. True love got power when we choose stay together. Grabbing the keys, but my soul scream wait. You they coming on me chaos, the reason mistake. Memories flooding, dancing in the rain. Late nights laughing, the resin of the pain. Your beauty, your fire, the way we align. Real love like this.
When I walk away this time, stay together.
Soul tied forever.
Hold tight forever. Kundalini of love. I'll bet you any amount of money, and I'll come back to you. I love no doubt about it.
Lights are come on in there.
Kundalini of love.
Coming on, coming on,
Kundalini of love.
coming on. Lights are come on in there.
Kundalini of love.
Though this time I break under in the air. Love with firm foundation, never gonna fall.
Stay together.
Memories,
Memories bind us. Kundalini of love. Kundalini of love. I'll bet you any amount of money, come back to you. I know no doubt about it.
lights are come on.
Kundalini of love.
Kundalini of love,
Kundalini of love.
coming on. Lights are come.
All right, well, namaste and lak'ech, my family, and welcome to the Kundalini of Love. I'm here, your host, with my brother Tyler Kiwala, the main man over there at Journey to Truth podcast. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. That was an awesome promo for the conference.
I saw you watching it. I was like, hey, listen, I can't stop, won't stop. I don't know. The music, it's insane. I am, I'm deep in the sauce of the creation right now. And I'm just so pumped getting my playlist together because DJSTARLORD will be going on at 9 to 10, or I believe right before Palmer goes on Saturday night at Rise of the Guardians. We're having a huge dance party, if you guys don't know that. And we're taking over the entire high school with the Performing Arts Center. We have the gymnasium. We even have the cafeterias and stuff. And it's catered on Saturday by Ty Smice. But no, I'm going to get my playlist ready. And I'm also doing, I'll be playing out here May 2nd, I believe, as well. I'll be doing a DJing for the Humankind Center, John. And that will also be where our rap party will be Monday night after the Day of Being celebration on May 11th. On Monday night, I rented out the Humankind Center for us to have a big dance party blowout to wrap the entire conference. But that being said, I wanted to interview you, Tyler, because you are going to be at Rise of the Guardians. Journey of Truth will be there. And why don't you tell them a little about what you're going to bring? I know you're going to have a booth. Go ahead. Tell them what's popping.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for inviting me. It's kind of, a pretty recent development here. So we're just basically going to set up. I don't know that Aaron will be with me because we'll be just getting back from Hawaii and all that stuff. So, but I'll be setting up what I call the Experiencers Lounge, just a cool place to hang out. But we'll be interviewing attendees and presenters on their experiences. So basically, they'll just hop in front of the camera. Anybody that wants to share something does so, and we'll be doing full length interviews, short interviews, and we'll be compiling some stuff. It's a whole thing that we do. It's everyone loves it when we usually do it. So it's been a while since I've had the opportunity to do that. So we'll just be chilling out in the lobby doing that the whole time, and then I'll be on the Divine Masculine panel Sunday night, I believe. So I'm excited about that. Thank you for that opportunity, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And I'm excited too for your lady, Miss Lily Nova. She's coming in hot as well. She'll be, I'll put her right next to you guys. Will be together. And she's not only a fantastic galactic channeler, but also her sound bowls and her healing frequency music is next level. So she's going to be on the center stage Sunday morning from 9 to 11:15 a.m., I believe, for the VIPs. And we will be selling tickets for that for normal attendees. And there'll be a button we put up maybe a week out. We can also do that in person as well, if you guys want to see that. But with that being stated, how is everyone doing across planet Earth? We are your injection of light and truth. All right. So this is a high vibe interview we're going to do here today, but I did want to talk about and get Tyler's, I want to get Tyler's perception on, what's going on the global stage. What does he feel is going on, geopolitically? And then obviously, what are some of the things happening with Artemis, right? And the moon and, and everything that we feel that is relevant right now in the present moment. So my brother, Tyler, what can you say right now with the kind of the geopolitical information coming out? What are you feeling is going on, and what are they telling the public? And then what's really going on?
Well, what they're telling the public is a load of crap. And, I think what we're seeing on the surface is, we're at the tail end of a holy war, essentially, in my opinion, that deals with non-human interference, extraterrestrials, Stargate technology, advanced reverse engineer technology, hybrid, reptilian, humanoids. I mean, there's so many things involved in this war that we're just not supposed to know about. They're not supposed to exist as far as the public is concerned. But I think that, we don't really understand what's at stake here in the public with what's going on with the conflict in the Middle East right now in Iran.
Right.
And I think that, the oil, that is like one of the surface level reasons for this, right? And the Strait of Hormuz. And, I believe that just finally opened, right? And then now the stock market's up today. Oil prices dropped $20 a gallon. Everything's changing. People, almost, I don't know how political you want to get with all this stuff, but it's really interesting, the tactics, the strategy of Trump. Everybody knows his favorite book is The Art of War. And if you understand that book, you understand what he's doing. And it's all strategic. It might seem haphazard and careless, but it's not. And I believe he knows exactly what he's doing. And I think the byproduct of everything that has happened over the past 4 weeks we're seeing now, I think it's going to inevitably be something good for the planet. But I also think that it involves things, like I said, that are much deeper, underground, off planet. There's a whole other faction to this that, like I said, is as far as the public is concerned, is not supposed to exist. But we're dealing with, Trump called the Iranian negotiators very different and quote unquote strange, and he had strange in quotes. I think that's him telling us without telling us that we're dealing with something else, someone else, and that don't consider themselves humans. They might be some sort of an extraterrestrial embodying a human body, but I don't believe they have the same bloodline, or they might be reptilians for all I know. But I think that we're dealing with these Iranian negotiators that is actually us dealing with an ancient race of extraterrestrials that has been here since the Sumerian times, and they've had a stronghold in that whole region of the planet. So it's interesting to see, this whole thing was it was almost like, it was almost unprovoked in a sense. We kind of went in there by surprise. No one was expecting it, but I think it had everything to do with the astrological alignment. We struck Iran when the 6 planets were aligned, and I think that ties directly into whatever the Stargate was doing that day. Potentially, they were trying to bring in some, who knows, otherworldly entities, and reinforce their army. And I think that there was a lot more at stake that day, and I think that's why we went in to kind of basically disarm the enemy before they got the upper hand. It was a preemptive strike. So
Mm.
there's a lot happening over there that we may never know about, but we have to think outside the box to really understand it, because what we see on the mainstream media is like laughable as far as these natural resources and all that stuff. It's just it's funny to look at it from through that lens, because that's just not the truth,
Right. No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, Solar Warden's been around over 80 years, and we've had anti-gravitic technology for a very long time. But to express that to someone who's still putting gas in their car, like we're still putting gas in that car.
Right.
It's a very interesting thing, because what you're dealing with is the principalities of actual real power on the planet, and actually how the financial system operates. And I do see a shift from the petrodollar and a shift from some of these older controls. I know that Trump canceled Prince Charles's meeting in the United States, which they had been planning for 2 months. Was it last night, 2 nights ago? And so, yeah, they canceled it basically because the prime minister of that country, I don't want to get into the whole thing. I like traveling the planet. I'm not trying to get in some weird tiff, but
Right.
there is some things going on with the alliance and what has happened planetarily. And obviously the United States pulling away from that imperial system, the
Right.
UK, so that's a huge thing for all of us. And you might not think it affects you. Well, what about, you like taxes? You like the IRS? You like some of these things? How about the fact that when DeSantis went after Disney World, right? What did they pull? Some sort of legal document saying that it's owned by the crown. You guys
Right.
don't have access to actually come in here. We're actually owned by the crown. So
Yeah.
I believe the United States is untangling itself in real time from this control system. And we're seeing very quick snapshots of what's happening on the planet. But to undo something that's been around for a couple hundred years is a really big deal. And I think that is the end game of what's happening. I also saw some different interpretations by other economists stating that if the U.S. kind of gets, with the oil production on the planet, and obviously all the nitrogen production on the planet, that what Trump is doing right now, it might seem very chaotic, but long term, it's going to serve the Western Hemisphere very well, and the three principalities. I think that NATO and the UN are kind of spooked right now, because the U.S. is kind of saying, we're not playing this game anymore, that you guys, call the shots and tell us what to do.
Right.
And we're just the big dumb dog that shows up and with a loud bark. I think this whole thing is far deeper than they're sharing with the public. I think that they're trying to keep some sort of normality to the civilians in the surface, especially people who are still completely unconscious and asleep, which is, 60%, let's just say, of the population right now. I'm being nice,
Right.
but I wish it was only 60%. Okay. But I'm just, but for everyone out there watching the news, always see that there's greater plays being made right now. That's
Mhm.
it. It's not that you're being shown 2% of what is really going on. And that's just on the surface. So with that being stated, brother, what do you feel about Artemis, the moon? What's going on? What's your take on it?
Well, let me rewind just a second, because I want to comment on something you said. Like when you're saying we're disentangling ourselves from that
Mhm.
stronghold, that darkness, right? I think that's
Right.
that's the key thing here. And what people need to understand is something like that takes time, because I don't think we realize how much every other country it was in bed with the United States or the deep state, right?
Right.
And it's not just go arrest them and we're done. Like it's a multi-dimensional, multi-layered war, and I think it's gonna take some time, and it's gonna take like loud movements like we just did. Like this can't be done. I think they've tried the peaceful negotiations, and they were never gonna back down. So this is what it looks like on the surface. And to be honest, it's only been 4 weeks and we're already seeing some resolution now. I mean, who knows what's going to come next, but it's interesting to me. I do think this is what we're doing, is disentangling ourselves from that deep state stronghold and really bringing sovereignty back. And that's going to take time.
I was sent, my brother, Mr. Fisher sent me that article or that post that Trump made about, that everyone's kind of sharing around, that he, I will obliterate, you will not exist any longer.
Right.
And my brother Zach says, hey, remove the word Iran and put deep state. Now read it. So there's layers to this thing. That whole post he made on Twitter, remove the word Iran and replace it with deep state. Now read it again. So there's a
Right.
lot of things that are right in front of your face. You're like, wait a minute, what is this really? What's really going on? Why did Ochama, sweet Barry, send over 747s full of billions of dollars to that location? What is this really? What are we really fighting here? So I think just to kind of, put your thinking caps on, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see how this thing plays out. But I think it's important for everyone from here to South Africa and Asia that are watching us live or will catch this later. There's a lot of things that is not known by the public. And there's a lot of things they don't want to disclose to the public right now. They want to finish this situation, wrap it up before they deliver your enchilada, rice and beans to you. They know this isn't the normal people's or the normal civilians level of consciousness in how they are acting. This is a layered 100-year plus war that's been going on behind the scenes that's been hidden from you guys. So I truly feel and trust that the right will and intent will be shown us on this planet. I don't feel that 12 or 15-year-old kids right now should not be processing this shit. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. And I think that a lot of the beings that are responsible should be 100% held accountable. And to be honest with you, how much time do they really have left on this planet in the first place? Let me get this straight. A bunch of 76 to 80-year-olds are having a beef. Bye. I don't know, dude. I don't really know how to express this to you. Bye. Not going to miss you. There's something in me. It's a fire because, dude, I'm 40 plus years old. And I got to be honest with you. The government's never done shit for me. I don't have health insurance. I pay my taxes. What exactly is the benefit of being here when all this stuff is it just feels like they take and they take and they take and they take. And I have not seen with my friends and family, especially in the spiritual community, any sort of proper support that we've received at all.
Right.
And honestly, it's very few of us that have actually been able to rise above the matrix and create our own life and ability to create freedom and peace for our friends and family. So no, it's rare. It's not easy. You want to talk about that, Tyler, how difficult it is being in this, genre that we're in the spirit, in the spirit and in the disclosure community, and how many things that we have to constantly bat off of us, not only emotionally and energetically, but to keep your head above water. Because I think people want to know. And there's a lot of people out there that have really powerful stories and real truths that they need to share, right?
Right.
Well, what are some of the things that you have gone through? And you're still kicking and punching, bro. You're still kicking, right? You're doing great. But I think people want to know what happens, right? When you take on this, go ahead.
Well, we're kicking and punching against all odds, I would say, in the sense that this potentially started off as the most exciting thing I could have ever been a part of to becoming one of the most difficult things I've ever done. And when I say that, I mean, what's been difficult is still showing up every day and not hanging it up, not throwing in the towel, because once we get into exposing the truth, and then you start to get into these movements and you realize, what's really going on behind the scenes. A lot of the times it's not what you thought. And in fact, there are, most of the people aren't who you thought they were in the first place. And that doesn't just apply here. That applies anywhere you go in the world, whenever you're pushing against something, right? If you're staying in your lane and you're complying and you're not, ruffling any feathers, you might be very successful in life, in the matrix anyway. But when you're going against the system and you're exposing the truth, and we've all dealt with just a surface level censorship of social media and YouTube and all that stuff, but it comes down to personal lives, and there is real targeting that occurs, especially stuff like the secret space program. I've noticed that it might sound like people make a mockery of that nowadays, but to me, there has been the most threats and pushback whenever we really try to get deep and uncover that. We have a recent documentary that just came out, and trying to get that thing even finished was an act of God. The amount of pushback I experienced during that was insane, and it would take an insane person to continue and complete it, and I did, because you would have thought that I don't know. It's just amazing the amount of pushback that we get sometimes just just trying to talk about this stuff. And I can go on and on, story after story, but I've experienced real targeting. I've even experienced my whole book, my book Bleed Through Tales from Another Timeline. It's about 2 recruitment attempts I've had into some Black programs. Not like, oh, I woke up with this memory, real physical people coming into my life, laying this program out in front of me and telling me what it would involve if I joined. And it's a whole crazy story. And it happened in 2017 and again in 2021, 22. 2 different programs. And during that time in my life, in 2017, I didn't have any awareness of this stuff. So I was very naive to it. I'm lucky I said no. And the second time around, I understood it and I leaned into it to see how far I could take it. But when I did that, I experienced direct targeting, the stories you hear about targeted individuals. And, they were going through my car. They were just breaking into my house, stealing my dog's collar. They fuck with you, they do shit. And whenever and that was right around the time where we were getting ready to host our very first Secret Space conference. And we had a friend from or somebody I know who has a friend in the ONI, the Office of Naval Intelligence. He said that, they're watching, they know, and there probably will be somebody there from the Navy, So whenever you get into like military programs and stuff like that, which is what we primarily do on our channel, it's kind of like a fuck around and find out situation, but they're not going to kill you. They're just going to do everything they can to make your life miserable and send people in to try and throw you off. And it's not easy. And it takes a strong will to do that. And even to still move forward and trust anyone or any situation, because they like to set up traps too. So we could do
Hey, listen, I just wanted everyone to know on my squad of TeamLight that everyone that are my homies, this is the norm. This is not the exception. Every single person that really steps up, spits truth, has real experiences. I just want you guys to flip this in your mind going, it's normal. That's the norm. If you come out against the matrix and you speak your truth and you do what you were meant to do when you incarnated on this planet, which is get to the core of what we're doing here, that's when the pushback happens. Okay. Right. So I just wanted to be clear because some people don't know. Some people hear the stories, and we have friends that we personally know, Tyler, that lost their beans, right? Multiple times. So what I'm trying to say is that it's something that happens in stages. The only thing for me that I notice has changed is that the polarity you choose and the thoughts you allow in your mind directly reflect the type of life and reality you're going to live. And what I'm trying to say is that it all starts first with something trying to convince you of something, and you have to allow that thought in to become your reality. And what I say for everyone out there, and why I'm making positive music with positive affirmations and prayers inside the music, we'll talk about that in a little bit. There's prayers in my music, mind you, is because I feel that it's time for the light to shine on this planet. And it's also time for a line in the sand to be drawn that these direct violations of free will are being held higher than this civilian 3D physical mammalian reality, but rather the principalities of the entire universe are watching this game. And if someone is in direct violation, they don't care. These beings upstairs do not care if you're part of a government. They don't care if you're part of a 3-letter agency. They are landing on your house in Virginia, and they are looking at you sleeping, and they are seeing what is plugged into your head. They do not care about any of these weird human belief systems. What they're monitoring is this planet in direct violation of the free will of the civilians and the people that are living on it?
Right.
You know what I mean? Is their free will and manifestation and right to exist being threatened?
Mm-hmm.
Right. To them, it's very simple. And, for us, we have a lot of words and vocabulary to express how we feel. To them, they can see the inflection of this parasitic energy affecting God's kids, Creator's kids, us. So I'm just trying to keep that. I'm trying to keep that in your heart, ladies and gentlemen. This world wants you to think the spirit world and the afterlife doesn't exist. It's absolutely false. The spirit world and the afterlife is actually probably more real and realistic than what you're staring at 30 frames per second through biological eyeballs. Okay?
Right.
Yeah, this is the dream. You're when you're awake right now, you're actually sleeping. And
Yeah.
when you're asleep, you're awake. Go ahead.
I mean, I agree. I think, you know, we're all monitored. They can track souls, and they know when you come online. And in fact, whenever you're about to break programming, that's when they send in reinforcements to keep you at bay. And that's what we're dealing with here. They want to keep you at bay. They want to keep you in your lane, like I said. But, you know, this goes back, well, obviously soul tracking. I forgot where I was just going to go with that point, but they send in reinforcements. Yeah, I don't know. But as soon as you're about to break program,
Yeah,
they know. Like they know. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Sorry. So I also believe there's time travel technology involved, and I think my 2017 recruitment attempt that happened before my awakening, right before my big awakening. Right, I had some stuff building up to it, but right before I was kind of blown wide open and saw through everything. It happened before that, and I'm like, I always wondered why or how. What was the purpose? Well, if they have timeline viewing technology, they know when you're going to become a threat, so they'll go back and they'll send somebody in your life to throw you off before you step into that, right? And had I said yes and joined that program with the guy who was trying to convince me to join, he disappeared for 7 years after that. Nobody knew where he went. And, you know, had I done that, there would be no journey to truth, right? Who knows, you know, what would have happened. But I think not only do they track you whenever you come online, and then they send in reinforcements, but then also if something happens in your life and you just doesn't make sense why, well, they know what you're going to become and what you're going to step into, and they're going to try and throw you off before that happens.
Right. So these guys play a very interesting game. They won't directly affect your free will, but what they'll do is they'll give you enough distractions and frustrations where you will choose to bend out of your highest timeline into a lower reality. They will force you, you know, if like, for example, if you had no paranoia, you could walk outside in board shorts on flip-flops, knock on the van and go, "Hey man, I'm hungry. You got any sandwiches in there?" And they're just going, "Hey, you're not supposed to." I'm like, "Guys, your range, I can smell you." Tom, is that your name's Tom, right?
Yeah.
You kind of messing. Yeah, you're married to Kelly. Yeah. The one that's hooking up with the physical trainer at Snap Fitness, right? That one? That's you, right? And you just glitch them out, bro. So what I'm trying to say is that you can glitch out beings, okay?
Let them know that you know. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is that if you have no fear, and here's the thing that I think Yeshua, our God, Jesus, whatever creator that is for you, and why it's written so many times in the Bible is have no fear. The reason is when you have fear in you, you emit that almost like a scent that goes out into the phantom matrix where they try to find an in. Because that's when we would do activations around the planet, Tyler, behind the scenes, me and Tone especially, we can smell fear. So when we would do an activation or open or close a door, usually we're arresting jackasses. But when we'd sit there with our eyes closed in the forest at night, I would wait for things to move. And I could smell the fear on the things we were hunting. So I'm trying to tell you, fear is real, and you can smell it and you can feel it. So for me as a light warrior, and you are too, my brother, and for all the light warriors out there, here's the deal. Like I said many, many times before, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. So what I'm trying to say is when you guys buffer that golden energy out and you go, "Hey man, this is the wrong house. I'm one of Yeshua's kids. I'm one of Creator's kids. Whatever program you're running at a lower frequency doesn't exist in my reality. You need to step out. You need to step away." So it's kind of like your own mantra of knowing thyself. And I know that's easily to say that, but Tyler, how much have you grown since you've moved to Sedona? Tell them.
Oh, dude, this place accelerates your timeline. It accelerates your path. I mean, it doesn't let you sleep, literally and metaphorically. Sedona does not let you sleep. Like there's no fence sitting here. Because what happened to me and what I've heard from a number of people, almost anyone you talk to, if you have anything, any unresolved trauma, anything that's going on in your life that you've been trying to bury and not face, Sedona says, if you want to stay here, you better deal with that shit right now. Otherwise you're out. And it will come up and everything that you were trying to avoid in life gets highlighted. It gets highlighted and becomes loud, and you can't ignore it until you deal with it and heal and do the real shadow work. And if you don't want to do that, then most people just leave, and then they'll blame it on Sedona. And that happens apparently a lot. I'm new to this place, right?
I'm like this. I'm like, please, Ty, I'm rooting for you. Just so you know, I'm in your corner, rooting for you, bro. I know, because here's the thing. I'm really glad you understand the lesson. You know what I mean? What you just said, how it highlights everything that's hidden that you got have to come up and deal with. No, that's truth.
Yeah, I mean, you can't sleep on yourself here. Like, you got to get to know yourself and what you want in life and what you're even doing here. You know, and I feel like there was a big, as soon as you get here, like they you know, shots fired. They don't waste any time, but you got to get over that hump. And I've talked to other people who've been here for a few years, 5 years and stuff, just locals and stuff. And you know, one of the guys told me, he's like, yeah, he goes, once you get over that hump, he goes, it's a great place. But you gotta deal with your shit, you know, and that's what this has been. And it's been beautiful. You know, it's been traumatic at times, but it's all a projection of what's going on inside of me. And then I just have to deal with that. So I think that, yeah, if you want to move out here and you know, I think that the strongest of us, and I don't mean, I'm not trying to come at this from an elitist standpoint or putting ourselves on a pedestal or anything, but you know, it takes a strong soul to really thrive out here. And I think that is also why this region, this area is highly surveilled and targeted and monitored, because they know naive people are coming to this area looking for spiritual transformation, and there's a lot of trickster energy in place too. So they're you know, you could easily be sucked into, you know, some snake oil, you know,
salesman,
cult, whatever. I mean, you could easily be sucked into something like that out here if you're new and naive and excited and like, oh my gosh, this person's offering this cool session and I can go do this, but you never really know what's behind that. And then that gets into a whole, not just here, that can happen anywhere really, but you never really know what's behind the true intentions of people, because the person themselves might not even know, because something could be working through them that they're completely unaware of. And that's just really how this whole game works. I mean, it goes deep, it's multi-layered, and you really have to attune your intuition so you can really detect, like, you know, it doesn't matter what somebody's saying. You know, their energy.
I gotta pause and to say, hey, I'm proud of you, bro. Hey, that's real. What you're saying, I'm proud of you. And you know, you guys don't understand. It's so rare. So 88% fail ratio for people that move to Sedona. It's 88%. And just to be clear, how Sedona used to work is there was always open houses here in Sedona. There was always things for sale. I am surrounded by a bunch of Airbnbs. So this is how Sedona normally works. You move to Sedona, if you can make it past the first 2 years, you're in. It's like college. Okay. So what happens is now what's going on, all of these agencies, Berkshire Hathaway, and they bought all the houses. Okay. And they turned them all into Airbnbs. So what's happened is those of us that are still left here, the real residents, which is like 9,000 people, okay, 2 million visitors a year, 9,000 residents, okay, we're here holding it down. And I can be honest with you is that it only makes us stronger. And for all you guys thinking about moving to Sedona, I really want you to be successful. And yes, I agree. And I really think that if we had a very powerful light community move back in here, and I'm hoping that the city of Sedona does something similar to what Florida did in some locations, where if you want to rent an Airbnb, you got to stay here for 30 days. This weekend rental thing, people coming up from Scottsdale is crazy. You know what I mean? Like what happens is it puts a huge inflection on the people that live here to hold the field. But at the same time too, I can say this, if you are surviving in Sedona right now, you literally are a superhero. So Tyler, I tip my hat off to you, bro, because you got to be that strong to hold the field for even all the visitors that are coming through this place with the guardians of this territory. So
Yeah.
that's all I wanted to, go ahead.
And it's an interesting energy too. Talking to some locals and stuff, and there's a lot of Native American heritage and history here. And what you realize is all their dwellings were on the outskirts of Sedona, and like the natives didn't even live in Sedona because they're smart enough to not set up camp in the vortex itself, right? They came to the vortex for ceremony. So even us trying to live here is insane to begin with. The fact that we're able even to make it. So, we kind of, who knows how that was all set up and how we ended up, how this whole town originated. I don't know that history, but as far as what the natives talk about, they knew better than to sleep in the vortex, because a lot of stuff can, we get into dream manipulation and all that stuff, or just entity attachments and astral parasites and all this stuff. When you're in an open vortex like this, anything can happen, good and bad. So it's that, that energy alone, outside of the infrastructure of the 3-letter agencies and the light workers and all that, the energy itself is obviously why this area is highly sought after. And that's why a lot of people have set up camp here. But sleeping like in these energies and like existing in these energies full time, I mean, that'll battle harden you in itself, and then you leave and you go try to sleep somewhere else and you get like the best night's sleep ever and everything's chill and you're like, geez. But but it's all helping you. Like it's spiritual evolution, soul growth, and if that's what you're here for, and we're all here to do that. But if you remember that's what you're here for and you're serious about it, then this is a good place for you.
I can say that with me, the before and after isn't even close. Especially you move out to Sedona, you work on yourself, you work on your inner light, you're raising your frequency, your vibration, you're meeting your higher selves, you're having more clear cognizant thought. And then when I go visit other places, I got to be honest with you, I expand right through the hotel. I feel like King Kong. I mean, dude, I was sleeping at Conscious Life LA. I had like 4 or 5 angels resting on my right arm, making sure that I didn't like crunch people horizontally in the hotel. They were watching me sleep because I don't know if you guys know this about yourself, but that's time in between for all those really big beings out there. You know who you are. Okay. For the real Azurites that have those Azurite soul, the real 144, your energy signature is huge, huge. Okay. Especially when you're in a place like Sedona where you're allowed to expand out and then exist expanded. Okay. Not like I expanded out for 20 seconds. No, I was expanded out for 8 hours while I slept. So what happens is when you go into the matrix or the physicality of this place, I used to, when I visited LA, I would have to compress myself completely in, and I put on this like black hood robe to, I would call it shielding, but it was really cloak. I would cloak my energy so the matrix couldn't see who or what I was. And then about 5-6 years ago, I just said, screw it. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm done putting the cloak on. I'm done with the game. And here's the deal. You guys in your huge energy signatures with your hearts on, you have no idea the cascading effect of how you are actually activating other people's dormant DNA. And it is a chain reaction flashing across the planet. So you being in a good mood and being at that retreat, or you being a good mood and being at Conscious Life LA, or you being in a good mood in a huge environment, you have to realize what that looks like to the universe staring at energy. Your energy is cascading through the entire crowd. And someone who may have never even known you, they just bump shoulders with you at a dance off, right? Or a club, or you have no idea that bump of that energy signature, that copy and pasted from your energy field, touched them, and it slowly moved through their entire system. And all of a sudden they had a critical moment where they had a thought go through their head like, what am I doing here? Who am I? What is this? That you don't understand how you snap people awake. And it's weird because we've been fighting this fight, Tyler. I know me and you, at least 16, 17 years for me. And a lot of people in the awakening community, there have been people trying to push the awakened narrative since the 60s and 70s. Right. What I'm saying right now is that we actually, with the alignments, with what's going on, we're actually seeing real change happen on the surface. It's not talk anymore. There is real kinetic things happening right now on the surface. And with that being said, I want you guys to know things are changing on this planet for the better, even though it may look very chaotic. Now, that being said, let's talk about Artemis. I know you did a great podcast on this. What is going on with Artemis, and what's your take on it?
Smoke and mirrors, really, to put it in a nutshell, just like the first time around. We just interviewed a lady, actually, and she's a tarot reader. Pink Bella is her name. Actually, I found her energy very authentic, and I loved it. But she pulled some cards on this, and that interview is going to drop tomorrow on our YouTube channel, Journey to Truth. But she had some really interesting insights. But what came through the reading and kind of what I was feeling, well, let me rewind. I was like, okay, this is interesting. They had been talking about this Artemis 2. We're going back to the moon for months now, like years now. And finally it was happening, and nobody thought it was never going to happen. Well, then it got delayed, and okay, we've seen that before. It's going to get delayed, then they're going to cancel the whole thing. Well, it got delayed till April 1st, and then they launched. And I'm watching the live launch, and I'm like, okay, so far it's believable. It looks pretty good. Rocket launch doesn't look any different than the rocket launch in the 60s, but okay. And then, they do the whole thing. They get so far up into the atmosphere, then it literally switches to a CGI image. And I don't care if they try to say it's not, but it was. And I'm reading the live chat on YouTube where there's like 1 million people watching, and it's flying by 100 miles an hour. I'm slowing it down, reading it, and like even normies were questioning it. They're like, people aren't seriously believing this, are they? Like, why are they showing us a 3D image? And then they change the camera angle, and it looks even faker. So I'm just thinking to myself, to what end? Like, what's the purpose of this? Then, reminiscent of the original Apollo missions, the president calls the astronauts while they're up there, and there's this whole phone call, right? And then now we're seeing the green screen discrepancies in the live feed footage, and it's very confusing. The pictures of Earth from the moon or from near the moon don't match up to what they took the first time. There's discrepancies everywhere. Nothing makes sense. What this lady pulled, Pink Bella, what the card she pulled was basically it's a test in a sense to see who's going to fall for this. And almost they want this they're actually, what she got through the cards is they want this event to actually wake people up. They're wanting it. It's almost like the Alliance is allowing it to happen, so people start questioning things on their own, and then they start to really demanding the truth. And she also pulled simultaneously, like we really have been to the moon, just not in a tin can. Like they've used reverse engineered technology.
We got tier 3 RBs that are anti-gravitic right now.
Right, exactly. And then those can easily get there. But then there's jump room technology, and there's all these other ways to get there. And we've set up shop there a long time ago in the 40s and 50s, as many of your listeners may know. So, and there's lots of literature and documentation on that, but it's just in the form of books. And I don't know how many people even read anymore, but it's all out there if you know where to look. And what she also saw was that there is actually there's some activity on the moon, like as above, so below. Like there's a regime change happening in the Middle East right now. And like there's meetings on the moon too, because, who knows who's really been in control of that. And if you notice, I forget how many months ago it was that they introduced a second moon. The Earth now has a second moon. It's like, just looks like another star, but they put that narrative out there for a reason. And I think that is, I mean, what came through that reading was that we're going to start to get some real disclosure about the moon, what it actually is.
Right.
And the second moon that is there could potentially, like in the distant future, end up replacing what we have now. And it's really interesting what she was saying. But either way, the Artemis mission itself seems to be like it's just a show. And I think ultimately, from the highest perspective, it's really in place to see who's paying attention, it's like a global IQ test.
I like that. No, I saw that footage when I don't know which rocket video it was, but remember the one where they saw the mouse running around on the thing? Yeah. And all of a sudden I was like, wait, what? You know what I mean? Like there was a mouse, all of a sudden it's like the whole thing's shaking, and all of a sudden a mouse runs out, and you're like, wait, what is
Right.
going on? So, okay, well, I not only agree with that, but I also have to tell you, Tyler, I love Pink Bella from Canada. She's fantastic, and not only do she is 100% authentic.
Right.
And since you talked to her and you have her number, why don't you invite her? I'll offer her a free ticket and a free table if she wants to come. I think Pink Bella is fantastic. I have her saved as my subscriber. So Pink Bella, if you're listening, come. I got you. You got a free table. Okay. All of the light workers on earth, you guys here at TeamLight, we support you. And we just want you to know that we understand, especially Tyler and I and the whole crew, how difficult it is, to come out, speak your truth, but also to lean against a narrative that wants to keep the majority of the population hypnotized.
Right.
You have to realize the whole pharmaceutical industry itself, the food, the air, the water is all created and designed to keep you asleep. Once you kind of figure that out, you're like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't realize it was so, oh no, this is a long time coming. So,
right. I mean, they stomp your head in the mud the second you walk out your front door. That's Earth. I mean, that's
it's a school of hard knocks. It's a school of hard knocks. Yeah.
I mean, we're bombarded on all fronts, like you just said. And there's no area we're not being attacked from, even the unseen. And then that's why it's like, well, spiritual hygiene, but more than that, getting to know yourself. Getting to know yourself, because if you don't know yourself, that's how you're going to be manipulated and mind controlled, and you're going to not know what thoughts are even yours or aren't yours, because a lot of your thoughts aren't your own, and mind control is a hell of a drug, and people can really believe in some crazy shit, and they know how to turn people against each other, and it's scary. We've had there's things that I've heard about us that are so far from the truth, but people are out there actually, believing it, that I have to question everything I've ever heard from anyone now, because I know they're not true about me. So I'm like, well, and then I take that up to the world stage with Trump and all these allegations and stuff. I'm like, if they're doing it to me, tiny little Tyler Kiwala from Journey to Truth podcast, like, they're definitely, imagine what somebody like Trump is going through, just fake bullshit being made up, and being thrown their way. So it's really interesting. Like, you can't just, you got to know yourself so you can know what's true and what's not, and your body responds differently to those frequencies. So, deception has a frequency, so does the truth. Intelligence and discernment go hand in hand. Critical thinking goes hand in hand. There's a reason why they don't teach critical thinking in high schools or middle schools anymore. Critical thinking is a big part of that's something that we had in school, Tyler. They stopped teaching critical thinking in high school, where people would debate a subject. That's kind of crazy to me. Emotional intelligence too is a big one, because if they can get that knee-jerk reaction out of you, they got you. I mean, that's how they can mind control you through your emotions easily. If you don't have control of your emotions, like, if you can't, that's why you meditate. That's why you like sit back and like sit on the sideline and observe. You don't have to actually be in the fight all the time. We're always in the fight, but you have to be able to, look at it from a distance and really see what's happening, because otherwise you'll get involved and you'll get sucked into the honeypot, and and then next thing you know, you're under that spell. Part of the issue, yeah. So. Yeah. That being stated, let's talk about your gains. Let's talk about how you keep your health, your wellness in check, especially as you're going through these things, the importance of health and wellness. I know when I saw you at, the last conference, ladies and gents, he's got some gains. He's doing some gains. So I always ask all my different people I interview this, what are some of the techniques and things you do to keep grounded, to keep a sound mind, right? And explain your routine and how you do it. Because everyone has a different way. Some people like to go swimming. Some people like to go surfing. Some people like to go hiking. What are things you do that help you stay solid, especially being in Sedona? Well, you got to have a girlfriend that helps keep you grounded, first of all. There you go. That helps tremendously, having a partner. It doesn't matter who you are, like having somebody in your life that is on a similar path and can keep you in check and keep you grounded, and it works, both ways. Right. But if you're going to talk about, diet and stuff, that's been something that kind of naturally I started cleaning up as I came out here. And then I've always liked to work out, but I felt like, and this is a good lesson for anybody who feels stuck in life. I was really stuck where I was in St. Louis before I moved out here. I was on this hamster wheel, and my physical health was showing it. It was showing signs of, the stagnation. I wasn't the young, fit version of myself anymore, and I just didn't. I was stuck energetically. I couldn't get rid of my home. It was like an act of God to get out of there. But when I did, things really started lightening up for me in a lot of ways, and I just started naturally eating healthy. And really, it's pretty simple. You don't have to go crazy about it, but you just keep it simple. And I don't have the best diet, but I have definitely cleaned it up, and eating less and intermittent fasting. In fact, I'm in the middle of a 3-day. I'm smack dab in the middle of a 3-day fast right now. I haven't eaten in, I don't even know, 40 hours or something like that now. So, and it's difficult. Like it's difficult to even like show up to this interview and not, cause I feel a little lightheaded and stuff, eating, but my body, I feel amazing too, energetically, cause I know my body is healing myself. So, healing itself. And that fasting, I think, actually, I've had lower back pains and hip pains for years and chronic issues. And one time I accidentally discovered this, but my back went out, and I was getting ready to go to this conference in Cocoa Beach, and I was hosting this conference, and I'm like, how the hell am I going to do this? My back's out, and I'm trying to get all like fit for the beach and stuff, and I couldn't work out anymore or whatever. And I was like, well, I can't work out. I'm going to fast. And this way my body is still doing something. But when I fasted, it accelerated the healing of my lower back. And I found that interesting. So it's not just like your physical pain, like your body starts healing itself all over, from all angles. And I wasn't anticipating that. And what usually would have taken like a month recovery time, because I decided to do a fast, I recovered in a matter of days. And so I was like, oh, wow, there's really something to this. So, parasite cleanses, those are my favorite things. I could do classes on parasite cleanses. I do them all the time. I've tried so many different ones. That's absolutely crucial. And I think that is the key to longevity and health. You're basically eliminating any possibility of ever getting cancer or diseases, because they all stem from parasites. So I won't even say too much about that, because something like that will get your channel taken down when you start talking about alternative health. But right now I'm in the middle of a fast, but then just exercising, going to the gym and getting out, like moving, and just, you got to get that energy flowing. Like, I don't know, you can't sit still, because, life will leave you behind. And the next thing you know, it's 10 times harder to get yourself out of that hole. And I was in that hole not that long ago. I may not have looked like it, but energetically, I knew I wasn't myself. And I'm on that path of returning to the health that I feel like I should be at,
100%. Well, Haley, I know what's going down. You're getting ready for Hawaii, baby. So let's tell everyone about this big event you have coming up in Hawaii, and that your live stream options for people that obviously would like to, punch in.
Yeah. So that is, honestly, that's funny, because that is a big part of it. You got this big event coming up, and you're going to be hosting it in front of hundreds of people. And I don't, I got to show up. I just can't phone it in. So it's really like, when you have stuff like that scheduled for yourself, it inspires you. It's like inviting people over for a party. You got to clean the house.
In the house. Yep.
So that's exactly what it is. So it's a way of like keeping myself in check too. So we have a Hawaii conference coming up April 20th through the 24th. There's a handful. It's technically sold out, but we can squeeze in a few in-person tickets. It's last minute if somebody really can, swing a trip to Hawaii at this point. But April 20th through the 24th, we do have virtual passes for $55. That gets you the opening and closing ceremonies, all the presenters. And we might try to live stream from some of the sacred sites if we can get our little Starlink mini to work. But it's a great deal for the live stream pass. JourneyToTruth.online. That's where you can find tickets for that, information for everything that Journey to Truth does, my book, our documentaries, webinars, Patreon, all that stuff.
And that link is in the descriptions, ladies and gents, JourneyToTruth.online. Well, brother, I'm excited, man. You know, and for all you guys that want to see Tyler in person that aren't going to be in Hawaii, check out TeamLightStore.com and come on out to Rise of the Guardians in Sedona, May 8th through the 10th. Mr. Fisher and the Fishers will be having the Day of Being, which is a free event happening at Posse Grounds on May 11th. And then I rented out the Humankind Center for Monday night. It's going to go off. So I'm excited, you guys. We're in this together. And Tyler, thank you so much for joining me here today. You know, it's been an absolute pleasure, brother. And I'm so excited to see how you're developing and dealing with the frequencies of Sedona, because it's a lot at times, especially, you know, living in a huge amplifier. But for all you, you know, and for all you guys coming out, I'm really excited to see you, give you a hug. I want to dance with you guys. I picked up another red carpet photographer for us. So everyone's going to get their shots, okay, on the red carpet. People are asking me about the dress code. It's called the Crystal Ball. I like shiny jackets, you know, ladies, shiny dresses. You know, if you guys, for all the ladies out there, it's hard to find a shiny dress. They're kind of pricey. What you can do is just wear a normal dress. Then you can find a shiny blazer. That's what a lot of people are doing. They just put on the shiny blazer and they got a dress on so they can dance. But whatever you guys feel like dressing up, it's definitely going to be a dress up situation. So I would say it's, you know, look your best and feel your best and bring your dates. And you guys, we're here at TeamLight to create, you know, the best reality for you guys. That's really my MO. Everything that we do, the whole group that we're getting together, I want you guys to come together, learn together, grow together, and look great together. And that's all I'd like to say. Tyler, was there anything else you'd like to share?
No. Does tinfoil hats count for something shiny?
Listen, you could do whatever you want to do in your own booth, Tyler. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I will say this. Something I heard and I love it, because, you know, we are in the middle of a spiritual war. True warriors run to battle, not from it. And, you know, a lot of people are running from their shadows right now. And that'll just, you know, that'll only end up being much harder for you in the long run. So if you're dealing with something, deal with it. And don't forget to have fun, because that's important too. I made that mistake at the beginning of my spiritual journey. I was trying to be all zened out and meditating and all this stuff. And next thing you know, I'm like, not even happy. I'm like, when's the last time I even laughed? You know, I was taking it so serious. So I had to, you know, find that balance. And we can't forget to have fun. Just appreciate the joy in life, be present. And if you have something that you're avoiding, don't deal with it, because it'll only be harder in the long run.
Some real wisdom from my brother Tyler. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a fantastic week. I have another big interview tomorrow with Indigo Angel, and we're going to be talking about some of these human hybrid programs that have been going on. And obviously, I'll be seeing you guys Saturday for another morning coffee. Till next time, peace.
Later.
Lights are come on in the Kundalini of Love. Kundalini of Love. Coming on. Lights are come on in the Kundalini of Love. Get so of this love. That's the way I navigate. Such go prasad. Hard such, you got such a gun cause I go prasad. Under shaking walls, but love no fall. Firm foundation, baby, stand through it all. We walk through the fire process, every pain. You're smiling on my mind, keep calling me name. Two hearts intertwined, no matter the weather. True love got power when we choose stay together. Grabbing the keys, but my soul scream wait. You they coming on me chaos.